DreAllDay.com.
Welcome back, everybody. Dre Baldwin, DreAllDay.com. Y'all already heard, y'all saw the point guards video yesterday. If you didn't see it, go back and watch it. Now let's get into the wings. And I told you with the wings, I'm doing the top 10. With the wing players, I'm mixing in guys who may play the shooting guard position, small forward, whatever. We don't even call them really positions that much anymore. Y'all understand what I'm saying when I say wings. You watch basketball, we ain't got to go into a detailed discussion of what a wing means and fuck all that. Let's just talk about the players. Now, there's one guy on this list that I'm not saying the order yet. James Harden had played a lot of point guard for Houston last year, but I still put him in with the wings. He could have been in the point guard conversation, but I decided to put him in the wings. Everybody else, I think, is pretty clear that they're in the wings position. And if it ain't clear, it's going to be clear by the end of this video. And if you disagree, make your own video. Now, let's get into it. Wings, I'm giving you 10 players. I'm going to give you the top 10 in order, and then we're going to go through the top 10 and why they're where they are. Number one, I don't think we need to discuss this. Actually, we do need to discuss it. Number one is LeBron James, and number two is Kevin Durant. We're going to discuss that. Number three, James Harden is number three. Number four is Kawhi Leonard. That number three and number four is a good conversation. We're going to talk about that. Number five, Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Greek Freak. He will be heretofore referred to as the Greek Freak. I'm not saying that last name again. Number six, Jimmy Butler, Minnesota Timberwolves. Number seven, Klay Thompson. Number eight, Gordon Hayward. Number 9, DeMar DeRozan. And number 10, Brad Beal. There's a good conversation there at the bottom of this top 10 too, and I'll get to my honorable mentions in a moment. First, let's start at the top. Start from the beginning at the top of the list. LeBron James and Kevin Durant. LeBron James has been the best player in the NBA for the last 10 years. You could throw in 1 or 2, maybe 3 Kobe seasons where Kobe might have been the guy, but other than that, it was LeBron. You take Kobe out, then it was LeBron's been the best player in the league for the last 10 years straight. Kevin Durant been in the league for the last 10 years. At no point was Kevin Durant better than LeBron James. Not at a single point. Now, people may say, well, Kevin Durant scored 30 and did this in the NBA Finals last year. Yes, he did. And yes, he did win an NBA championship. Kevin Durant also, and this is like my subjective opinion, Kevin Durant was on a team, OKC, we know this, 2 years ago, was just about to beat the Golden State Warriors, the 73-win Golden State Warriors. They were about to beat them. They were up 3-1 and blew the fucking series. They completely blew the series. Kevin Durant, I think we all could agree at that point, was the best player on the Thunder. I mean, Russell Westbrook was good, but I think we agree Kevin Durant was the second best player in the world next to LeBron at that point. How you blow a 3-1 series lead to that team, I don't know. You got 2 of the top 5 players in the world on your team. And then Kevin Durant left the team that he was on that just lost a 3-1 series lead, and he signed with the team that beat him. He signed with the Golden State Warriors. And I understand people may have thought, okay, maybe KD went to the Warriors because, and yes, we're talking about this even though it happened 2 off seasons ago. Maybe he wanted to sign with the Warriors because they share the ball more and Russell Westbrook's all on this one-on-one stuff, or like the tweet that KD put out, the childish tweet he put out where he was using a different account. Or he thought he was using a different account, but it was actually his account. He's talking about the coach and the teammates he wouldn't want to play with and all that. I understand it. If that's the case, that's the case. You don't like the coach, you don't like the coach. You don't like your teammates, you don't like your teammates. No problem. But y'all were in the conference finals up 3-1. It's not like y'all were a terrible team or y'all losing in the first round every year. Y'all were in the conference finals about to beat the team that won 73 games, about to beat the guy who won MVP 2 years in a row, about to beat the team that just won a championship 2 years ago and lost the championship the year before, just won a championship the year before that. And then you go sign with them after they beat you. This is the challenge that I have with that, because it's not about me having a problem with Kevin Durant's personality or character, or this ain't like Stephen A. Smith or Skip Bayless, none of that shit. The challenge is it's hard for me to gauge Kevin Durant's performance from this point forward if he stays on that team, because dude, you was on your own team. It was built around you and Russ, but really around you, KD. Y'all were on the precipice of going to the finals. KD against LeBron, it would have been KD against LeBron, Russ against Kyrie, it would have been perfect. You lose, okay? You lost. Y'all can come back in next year and fight another day. Then you go sign with the team that beat you. You go sign with the team that won 73 games. Like, he went and signed with from top to bottom, probably the most talented team in the NBA. I think we can agree. Before they got KD, signed with them. And now you're playing with them. Like, even though, look, did KD put up amazing stats in the finals? Yes, he did. Did he hit the game-winning shot in LeBron's face in Game 4? Yes, he did. But goddamn, Now it's hard for me to compare LeBron. It's hard for me to gauge what they're doing because KD's on. He went and joined somebody else's army. Like, he didn't go build his own army. Now, some people say, and my man Wes likes to say this when we talking in our group text, that LeBron going to Miami was building a super team the same way KD going to the Warriors building a super team. They were not the same. And I know this is going to get a lot of conversation going, which is cool. I'm open to this conversation. LeBron James lost to the Boston Celtics 2010, summer 2010. Went to Miami, a team that didn't exist. The team that they ended up with did not exist when LeBron signed the contract. The team came about around the three guys, LeBron, Wade, Chris Bosh. The team did not exist. They were not already good. KD joined a team that was already good. All right, the Warriors could have went back to the finals and won without Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant just joined the team. He hopped on the train that was already moving. LeBron James put a train together. That's the difference between the two things. KD jumped on a train that was already moving very successfully. LeBron James put a train together. And those are two different things, in my opinion. If I got that wrong, you let me know in the comments. I know there's a lot of KD fans out there and a lot of LeBron anti-fans out there who will let me know. And I want y'all to let me know in the comments that if I got this right or if I got this wrong. That's the thing between the two guys. That's the reason why at this point, if KD remains on that team and LeBron remains on his team, there's no way that I could put KD above LeBron James. Here's another reason. When KD did have his own team, OKC, and they had James Harden and Russ, they played against LeBron's team and they lost 4-1. It wasn't even that competitive of a series. He pretty much beat them down. And LeBron has pretty much, and as far as I know, he's beat down Kevin Durant pretty much his whole career. Kevin Durant has never been better than LeBron, and I don't think, even though he won the championship this past summer, I just gave you all the reason why, even though he won the title, I still can't put him above LeBron, because LeBron came back from Miami to Cleveland to a team that wasn't shit. Traded the #1 pick, Andrew Wiggins, for Kevin Love, got Kyrie Irving, who had skill but hadn't really did his thing yet. He put that team together. He built that train again, made it into something that was competitive. He made that team into a competitive team. Went up against that Warrior team who had won 73 games, who would have been going against OKC, but instead it was the Warriors because KD and Russ blew it, that 3-1 lead, and beat them. He took that team there. We can all agree to that. Y'all remember the 2015-2016 finals. What LeBron James did in those two finals was fucking amazing, even though they lost in 2015. In 2016, then LeBron averaged a fucking triple-double in the finals. I don't even remember if he averaged a triple-double, but this guy in the finals led the finals in points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks. That's fucking incredible. I don't see Kevin Durant ever doing anything like that. He can't do it playing for the team he plays for now because there's too many other guys on the team who are so good. And I don't think I even need to say anything else about this. Well, maybe I do, but we'll come back to it if we got to. So that's it. LeBron #1, KD #2. I don't think there's any, besides Steph Curry, I don't think there's anyone who even has an argument for jumping into that #1, #2. This is for the whole NBA. Forget the wings position. This is the whole NBA. LeBron #1, KD #2. Maybe you could argue for Steph Curry, but I don't think so. I say LeBron, KD, clear #1, #2 players in the entire world. And what I like about the wings position in general, I didn't say this at the top of the video, is that these guys in this top 10 in the wings position, let's just say you made a team out of the first 5 that I gave you. LeBron, KD, Harden, Kawhi, Greek Freak. They can beat any team in the world. They got guys who can get to the rim, who can play in a post, who can body up, who can handle, who can shoot, who can drive, who can pass. The wing position is guys that can just pretty much do everything. So you basketball players coming up, you want to play in the wing position, you got to be able to do everything like these guys do. Dribble, pass, shoot, have strength at the basket, shoot from the outside, pass, set up your teammates, run the offense, anchor the defense, play 48 minutes or whatever number of minutes your league is. These guys can do everything. I like this position a lot of talent here. #3, James Harden. James Harden, the Houston Rockets, which again, he played a lot of point guard last year. Pretty much was the point guard last year, but I'm still putting him in the wings position. Him and Kawhi Leonard, if you want to compare him and Kawhi, I believe is a pretty good conversation. It's a really good conversation comparing James Harden and Kawhi Leonard. And the thing is with this matchup between these two guys is that James Harden is much more of a scorer. He dominates the ball for his team. A guy like Kawhi, he doesn't dominate the ball. He can handle it, he can pass, he can create his own shot, and he will go in and dunk on you. He can shoot from the outside. He can do all that stuff. But the Spurs have a certain type of system. Kawhi Leonard is a certain type of player. He's not a guy who needs to score all the points, but he will get his buckets as he needs to. Guy averages in the mid-20s. I think you may see Kawhi average 25 points a game this year. There's a good argument between Kawhi and James Harden. I believe when Kawhi once he gets healthy and he plays an entire season, I believe you can make a very, very solid argument. I know my dad would because he's a Spurs fan. Very solid argument for why Kawhi Leonard is above James Harden. And also, let me throw this in there. Fuck Zaza Pachulia. Because last year in was that the conference finals? Western Conference Finals, the Spurs against the Warriors, maybe it was the second round, I think it was conference finals. Spurs against the Warriors. The Spurs were kicking the Warriors' ass in game 1. And Kawhi Leonard, we all know he was going to be guarding KD that whole series. As long as it went, it was going to be him on KD. Because you can neutralize KD, you can beat them. All right, they were already tough to beat before KD, but now with KD, you got to get somebody on them. Spurs were kicking their ass in game 1. Then Zaza Pachulia put his foot under Kawhi Leonard's foot, and yes, he did that shit on purpose. Now, Zaza is a veteran. It wasn't obvious if you look at the video, but Zaza's a veteran. He knows what the fuck he's doing. He's never been a super talented player. He's had to get by on guts and guile and little crafty shit like that. That's how he has had a 10-plus year career in the NBA because of that, not because of his talent. He knew what the fuck he was doing. Him getting Kawhi injured ruined what could have been a hell of a matchup in that series. So this year, I haven't heard Kawhi Leonard even talk that much. I hope Kawhi Leonard has it on his mind. We're going to prove some shit to those guys because they might not have even made it to the finals had Kawhi not got in. And I don't think anyone can refute that. They were getting their ass kicked in game 1 at home in their building. If the Spurs had kept their team there, I don't know if the Warriors would have won that series, let alone won the finals. They wouldn't even been in the finals. So I believe Kawhi Leonard being at this number 4 spot could have beaten KD and then guarding KD that whole series, which would have gave him a case to go above KD in these rankings. And then same thing to LeBron James, where Kawhi Leonard could actually he could have an argument for placing himself as number 1 on this list, but that's a whole lot of ifs. If he didn't, actually, there's only one if he didn't get injured. He could have beat KD and then beat LeBron and would have had a legit argument to be number 1. And let's not forget, Kawhi Leonard has a championship going against LeBron, where the Spurs beat the Heat in the 2014 NBA Finals. But I don't put that so much as a Kawhi versus LeBron series because the Heat were really just decimated. They were not very good at that point. They were running on fumes, but they had the best player in the fucking world. That's the reason why they made the finals, and the East just wasn't that good. And the Spurs had a lot to prove that year. They still had Tim, they still had Tony, they still had Manu. They had a good team. They had a much better team than the Heat by far. I don't think that was so much a this guy against this guy series. It rarely comes down to that, and that series wasn't that. So I'm gonna make sure I put that out there just in case somebody wants to point out, yo, Kawhi beat LeBron in the finals. I know. But LeBron also beat him at the same time. Same thing with LeBron and KD. They each beat each other once. And James Harden, again, I'm putting him there just because of his great performance last season. But I completely understand if you say Kawhi goes above James Harden. I understand that. But I do not put either of those guys above number 2 and number 1, KD and LeBron James. Number 5, the Greek freak, Giannis. I'm not going to say his last name anymore, Giannis. I believe Giannis this year could make a huge leap. What that huge leap will entail, first of all, I think he needs to get his scoring up to the mid-20s. He averaged about 22 or so last year. I think he needs to get up to about 25, 26 points per game. He needs to dominate the action for his team. Even if he does so, how he could break through into the top 4, I don't know. Somebody let me know in the comments. What does Giannis have to do this year to be in the top 4? What does he have to do to push LeBron, KD, Harden, or Kawhi out of the top 4? I'm not sure there's anything he could do, but Giannis he's the Greek freak. He's a freak. There's no player like him, so maybe he could do something that I'm not even thinking because we haven't seen anybody do it before that could put him in that top 4. If anybody can do it, he's the guy to do it. Number 6, Jimmy Butler. I wasn't even going to put him this high, but then I looked at his stats from last year. I looked at his career. Every year he's been sharing the ball in some way with some dominant guard, ball dominant guard. Like Dwayne Wade wasn't that ball dominant last year, but Dwayne Wade needs the ball in his hands. And then before that, he was playing with Derrick Rose. This year, he's still playing with some guys who are going to need the ball, and Karl Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins gunning ass. So But the numbers that he put up last year, this guy's a really good player. And I didn't watch many Bulls games, but I know he was good. But then looking at his stats, like, this guy really gets it in. And I was trying to decide whether I should put him above or below the number 7 guy, who's Klay Thompson. And then I looked at both of those guys' stats, looked at the teams that they were on, and said, there's no way that I could put Klay Thompson above Jimmy Butler. Klay, of course, has a couple championships. He's playing on a team with 2 of the top 5 players in the world. I don't think, and this is the first time I'm using this example, if you were to take Klay off the Warriors and put him on another team, I'm not sure Klay would look as good as he looks on the Warriors. Just my opinion. Now, Klay Thompson, that's not to say he's not good. Is he one of the best shooters in the world? Absolutely he is. What could Klay Thompson do if he had a lot more attention on him defensively from his opponents? I'm not sure he would do as much as a guy like Jimmy Butler does. I don't think, actually I know from watching him play that Klay cannot create his own shot the way Jimmy Butler can, or the way any of the guys in my top 6 can create their own shot, even more than the guy number 8, Gordon Hayward, can. The reason I put Klay above Gordon Hayward, because I believe Klay has more of a, at least from what we can tell, he's been the 2nd or 3rd best player on his team the whole career, to just take the reins more. Gordon Hayward is unselfish to a fault. He's an unselfish player. Gordon Hayward could average 25 to 30 points a game, I believe, if he was more selfish. Maybe he'll be that this year, but now he's playing with Kyrie Irving, who's a ball-dominant guard. So we'll see what they do together with Gordon Hayward. But Gordon Hayward is a very good player, and he was on my fantasy team last year. He provided very good performance, so I appreciate that, Gordon Hayward. Number 9, DeMar DeRozan. Challenge with DeMar DeRozan is he stepped his game up a lot last year. People have said he has the best footwork in the league. The dude can put the ball in the basket. We all know this. He is a very good player. The challenge with DeMar DeRozan is how far can you go if he's the best player on your team? Him and Kyle Lowry, with them two together, like a two-headed monster as the best player, both of them together as the best player, you go into the 2nd round. Maybe you can get to the conference finals if the conference is weak, but then they're going to lose to the Cavs. Like, they're not even a serious threat to the Cavs. Like, if you know the Raptors and the Cavs are playing in the playoffs, you're like, all right, I'll watch it, but you know what's going to happen. That's the challenge that I have with DeMar DeRozan. I don't know how far, actually I do know, how far can you go if he's the best player on your team? And here's the other question, how much better can he get? Can he go any higher than where he is right now? You look at a guy like Damian Lillard, I look at Damian Lillard and DeMar DeRozan in the same box. They are very good, they're all-stars, they're worth all the money that they make. But how much further can they take a team besides where they've already been? They've both been to the 2nd round, but not. And did the Raptors make the conference finals? I don't even know if it was the conference finals the 2nd round. They played the Cavs before, but I mean, what are they doing? Where are you going if DeRozan's your best player? I say the 2nd round, maybe conference finals in the Eastern Conference if it ain't strong. But that's it. I don't think you go any further than that. I'm not sure the Raptors can beat the Celtics in the series. This year's Celtics. I'm not sure the Raptors can beat the Wizards in the series. And I know the Raptors ain't beating the Cavs in the series if LeBron's healthy. We ain't got to talk about that. So that's the reason why DeRozan is at the number 9 spot. I just don't see a team going very far with him as your best player. Maybe you put him on a team with LeBron. Put him on a team with, I don't know, Anthony Davis or something like that, where he is not the guy. If he's your best player or tied for your best player, I don't see that as a championship team. And DeMar, if you see this, is not personal against you. It's just what I'm seeing. I'm just going off what I see on the courts. Number 10, and this is a guy who I believe this year could catapult himself into the top 6. Yes, I think this guy can go from number 10 to number 6. Brad Beal of the Washington Wizards. If y'all watched the playoffs last year, you saw Brad Beal was putting on a fucking show against Boston. Boston didn't have anything for him in the last few games of that series. Actually, the whole series. They didn't have much for Brad Beal. He was going off. Challenge with Brad Beal is he gets injured a lot, and he has to do that for a whole season. It's 2 challenges. He got to stay healthy, and he got to perform the way he did in that Boston series. He got to perform like that for an entire NBA season. If he does that, if he performs how he did in the playoffs for a whole season, I put him above DeRozan, Gordon Hayward, Klay Thompson, and Jimmy Butler. I'll put him above Jimmy Butler. It'd be a good conversation between him and Jimmy, actually. But he got to do that for an entire season in order for me to really say, like, yo, this guy's the guy to go up there right now. Now let's talk about our honorable mentions. So now we got our top 10. Let me repeat the top 10. LeBron, Kevin Durant, James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, Giannis, Greek Freak, Jimmy Butler, Klay Thompson, Gordon Hayward, DeMar DeRozan, Brad Beal. My honorable mentions, I only named 3 people. C.J. McCollum, Devin Booker and Carmelo Anthony, hoodie Melo or no hoodie Melo, headband Melo, because you can't wear a hoodie during the game. CJ McCollum is a hell of a scorer. He can put the ball in the basket, and I put him in the same bucket as Damian Lillard, and that's why they're teammates. CJ McCollum and Damian Lillard are like the Western Conference version of Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan. There's only so far you're going if that's your best player. There's only so far you're going if those are your top players. They have basically taken you as far as they can. When you're looking at a league that has Steph Curry, Russell Westbrook, LeBron James and Kevin Durant, even James Harden and Kawhi Leonard, those guys ain't beating those guys. They're not beating those guys. So I don't know what else I can do with those guys in these lists. Devin Booker's a hell of a scorer. I'll put him on here. He was on my fantasy team last year. I got him again this year. He can score. He can put the ball in the basket. Challenge with Devin Booker is he don't do shit else. That's all he does. Devin Booker scores points. He don't do anything else to really help the team, in my opinion. And this year, Phoenix, they added a guy in is it Josh Jackson or Joe Jackson? I don't even remember. The guy from Kansas, athletic. This is more people who need the ball on that team. So can Devin Booker either A, assert himself as the true alpha dog and still get the ball more than everybody else and still get his 20+ points a game? And number two, can he do anything to help the team other than score? Defense, passing, rebounding, leadership. What does Devin Booker bring to the team besides scoring? So far, nothing. That's why I got him on my fantasy team, because leadership and defense don't matter in fantasy. At least not the type of defense I'm talking about, team defense. And ain't no stat for leadership. Devin Booker, can you do something other than score points? Because if he can prove he can do something other than score in addition to scoring, maybe he could crack this top 10, but right now, no. And Carmelo Anthony. Hoodie Melo is great. It looks good in workouts. I mean, what player doesn't look good in a workout video that they edited, that somebody edited for them? I don't think anybody looks bad in a workout video. But we've seen headband Melo in the NBA for many years now. Challenge with Carmelo Anthony is Carmelo Anthony's teams don't get better when Carmelo Anthony's on the team. That's the challenge. His teams don't get better. Carmelo was in New York for all these years, and that team did not get better. They got progressively worse. He was the best player on the team the entire time. Maybe you could say Amari for a minute, Amari Stoudemire. You had Linsanity, which Carmelo personally killed with his bare hands. I mean, where are you going with Carmelo Anthony as your best player? I think we've gotten our answer, and that's why Carmelo Anthony was ready to get traded to Houston, where he wouldn't be the best, Cleveland, where he wouldn't be, and OKC, where he is, where he's not the best player still. Actually, I forgot somebody in this Wings conversation is Paul George. I completely forgot to put Paul George in this list. I think I was thinking of him, and before I even got to him, I missed him on this list. So let me add in Paul George while I'm talking about Melo, since they're teammates. I completely forgot Paul George. Paul George, I'm going to put as number 7 before Klay Thompson, but after Jimmy Butler. So this ends up as a list of 11 people, because I'm not going to drop nobody. So that will be Jimmy Butler number 6, Paul George number 7. So let's talk about Melo and Paul George together. I put Paul George number 7 simply because, and this is the reason why I didn't put him in the top 5, where some places might have had him in the top 5. Paul George is similar to Carmelo Anthony. He's like just very slightly higher level Carmelo Anthony, only because Paul George can impact the game defensively better than Carmelo Anthony does. And offensively, a little bit less than Carmelo. He's a little bit better on D. No, he's actually a lot better on D. And a little bit worse on offense. The challenge with both of those guys is your team's only going but so far if that's your best player, and you don't have a two-headed monster. Paul George and Carmelo Anthony will get you to the first round, maybe, and then you're going to lose. You ain't doing nothing else. You're going to the first round, maybe, and nothing else. Neither of those guys should be the best player on the team, because you're not going too far with those guys the best player, which is why it's great you put them on the team with a guy like Russ. The three of them together can do something. I want to see that 3 in the conference finals against the Warriors, but that's a different conversation that we ain't going to talk about here today. So Paul George, I forgot him, just slipped my mind. He goes number 7 after Jimmy Butler. I believe Jimmy Butler has more of and actually between Jimmy and Paul, you could really say it's a tie. I'm not sure which of them has more of a leadership gene. We're going to find out about Jimmy Butler this year. We may not find out so much about Paul George, because Russ is the man on that team. And I think Melo has a stronger personality possibly than Paul George. But we will find out about Jimmy Butler this year, because he is going to be looked to for leadership on the Wolves team. But we've seen Paul George for a long enough time that I think we know who he is. Does he have potential to be even better? I'm not sure. On this team, I think Paul George is pretty much who he is. Paul George is going to get you about 22 points. He's going to get you 6 or 7 rebounds. If he's the man, he's going to get you to the first round and you're going to lose. That's what you're getting out of Paul George if he's the best player on your team. Now, Paul George goes to the Cavs and plays with LeBron, they win in the championship. If Paul George goes to, let's say you put him on New Orleans, team him up with Anthony Davis. Maybe if they didn't even have Boogie anymore, say Paul George and Anthony Davis on the team, that's a damn good team. At least a second round team. I'm not sure they go further because I'm not sure either of those guys is a leader strong enough to push that team past the second round where it gets even tougher. See, the leadership trait is not something you can really explain in stats, but you need it if you're going to go further than just being good. Those guys are good. Paul George is a very good player. Can he take a team anywhere? Can he take a team somewhere? I don't think he can. I think you make the playoffs because he's that skilled, but I don't think you're going any further than that. Carmelo Anthony, exact same thing. And because Paul George is younger, he's more dynamic, meaning he can do things off the ball. He don't need the ball to be effective. And actually, he does need the ball, not as much as Carmelo needs it. Let's put it that way. He needs it, but not as much as Carmelo needs it. And he can impact the game defensively, where Carmelo is a complete zero on defense. That's the reason why Paul George is where he is, and Melo did not make the top 11 in this list. Another thing about Paul George is that he demanded the ball after they had lost that playoff game. He got mad at CJ Miles for shooting, and he said, "I need the last shot." He announced that he needed the last shot. Paul George is not that great of a scorer that he should be demanding, or especially not announcing to the public that he needs to be taking the last shot. Like Paul George, you average like 22 points a game. How did you demand the last shot? Like, I don't understand. Now, if you averaging 27, 30 points a game, then you would probably have the ball already. But Paul George is not that great of an offensive player, in my opinion. He's athletic. He can do everything, but he's not that great of a scorer. Like, yo, you average 22 points a game. 22 points is a lot of points. I mean, it's max contract numbers, but there are other guys averaging a whole lot more than that. I don't think he really needed to even make that statement. Now, here in OKC, you got Russ, Paul George, and Carmelo. They all want the last shot. Who's taking it? That's another conversation for a different day. So that's my top 10 at the wing position. I just mentioned my 3 honorable mentions, which are actually is the top 11 because I forgot Paul George. CJ McCollum, Devin Booker, Carmelo are my honorable mentions. What do you think of that? What did I get right? What did I get wrong? And why? Tell me why I got it right, why I got it wrong. Hopefully none of y'all start leaving comments about me forgetting Paul George before I got to this part where I talked about Paul George. But that is my top 11 at the wing position. Tomorrow, we're going to do the bigs position. I'm going to record it right now, but it's coming out tomorrow. Work on your game. Dre all day. Yeah, hoophandbook.com, signature manual for wings. If you need to get your wing game up, I am the only person who can teach it to you right. Work on your game. DreAllDay.com.